Hello, everybody. I am recognizing many names and many faces, or those of you who have your cameras on. Hello, welcome, welcome. We are very happy you could be here with us today. This is one of and for any of you who know me, you hear this all the time. I'm constantly saying, oh, this is one of my favorite things. I'm going to say it again. I love the Python language, and so I get really excited for Python workshops. So I'm super excited to be here with all of you today. And honestly, you'll hear it again because I'll forget, oh yeah, I like this too in JavaScript or micropit. So if you come to those this week, you'll hear Lori say that is also one of my favorite things. So welcome everybody. We'll get started in just a moment. We'll have a few logistical things that we'll go through before we get started with the workshop. We will get some info out for you shortly as we are waiting for our attendees to come in and for that number to settle. I'll just mention a couple of things. My name is Lori, and I am a PD specialist here at CodeHS. And I'm very excited to be on this workshop with you all today. We also have several other CodeHS team members on with us today. We have two more PD specialists. We have Linda and we have MR on with us today. We are also graced with Dave from the CodeHS team. He is on curriculum. He's part of our curriculum team and helps develop some of our amazing courses that you are all enjoying. And we have Gary from support on as well. We are all very excited to be on with you today and excited to help answer any of your questions. So we have a huge team supporting us in our workshop today. So I'm going to just slowly get started, and we'll keep an eye on that participant window and keep letting people in as we go. I have noticed too that some of you have been using chat, so that is perfect. You can go ahead and keep throwing your introductions into chat. That would be great. We'll have an opportunity to do that in a little bit if you haven't yet, but go ahead and keep doing that. That's perfect. So we are really excited to have Scott Headrick with us today. I've actually known Scott for a long time. I've worked together when I was still in the school district, and we've done a lot of different workshops together. And Scott is now one of our CodeHS teacher trainers, and he'll be leading us through most of this workshop today. So we will get to meet Scott in a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and get us started. So first of all, we have our first link for you today. You can access today's slides by browsing to codehs.com/python-slides or by scanning that cute little QR code with the dinosaur in it. But you can access the slides today. These will also be in the workshop section that we're using, so you will have access to those. And I will include those in the follow-up email, so you'll have those after the workshop as well. But if you'd like those right now, Linda did just toss that link into chat. So please browse out to codehs.com/python-slides to grab those, or like I said, use that QR code. Any links that we'll be using will be included in the slide deck. We are getting an excellent group, everybody. Hello, hello. All right, give it just a second on this slide. If you need to take a quick picture of that QR code or grab that link, grab that. Just glancing at chat. Oh, we have people, California, Florida, Indiana, South Carolina, NYC, Wisconsin, Northern North Carolina, Texas, Ontario, Phoenix. Ooh, Phoenix, I don't know how you do it. It's getting real hot here. I'm in South Dakota. It is warm. So it's warm enough for this girl. Hello, everybody. All right, let's go ahead and flip to our next screen. So if you have questions today, we do ask that you drop any of those questions into our question parking lot. You can access that by going to codehs.com/python-questions. And you can also access it from that QR code on this screen. One of the reasons we're asking you to use the question parking lot is because we do have a lot of participants. So many of you are very excited about Python. So I'm super excited about that. But in an effort to help us make sure we get all of your questions answered, if you could just utilize that question parking lot, that would be great. So again, browse out to codehs.com/python-questions. Everybody should be able to have access to that. And we will have people behind the scenes answering questions or throwing those questions out to Scott as well. So we appreciate your help with that. Give it just a moment on this screen in case you need a picture of the QR code or that link. Welcome, Texas. With people joining us from Texas. A lot of South Carolina today, I'm noticing. Tennessee. We were just there a couple months ago. Loved it. Michigan, Idaho. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, welcome. All right. So many of you have been doing this already, but if you have not, take a minute and tell us where you're from, where you're joining us from. You can tell us whatever you'd like to share. You can share your name if you like. Have you used CodeHS before? Do you have any experience teaching Python? Are you pretty new to this? Or what else do you teach? Oh, Eddie mentioned I miss Portillo's so much. I ate there the first time not long ago, and I'm a fan. I am a fan. If you go to Chicago, I'd highly recommend. I need my Chicago dog. All right, so go ahead and toss any info you'd like to share into chat. And if there's anything you're looking for today, if you've got a question, you can add that as well. So I've used CodeHS, taught some Python before, but not using the CodeHS platform. Excellent. We can speak to that. Actually, both Scott and I started with some other platforms as well a long time ago when we were in the classroom. And I made the switch a long time ago in the classroom to CodeHS and never looked back. Excellent. Lots of new teachers. Oh, sure. Oh, cool. So Randy's used Swift. Lots of new teachers. Wonderful. Oh, cool. Carolyn's teaching Cyber Foundations 1 and 2. We actually have some cybersecurity workshops coming up this summer as well. I think we've got 2 of them. And by the way, for those of you, and I'll mention this again at the end, but for those of you who are new to CodeHS and new to Python, we do have a second Python workshop, I think in July. I'll have to look at that date just to be sure. And don't be scared away by that one. It's kind of a second level Python, but I can guarantee you, I think you're going to, if you want to attend that one as well, you're going to come away with more information that you can use about CodeHS and about teaching Python. So I would definitely suggest that if you are new to CodeHS, new to teaching Python, go ahead and sign up for those second deeper dives into these platforms and into these languages as well. I think that'll be really helpful. We have a broad range of teachers. I love seeing this. Oh, William, that's cool. So we have a math teacher. Let's see, I try to incorporate the Python math module in lessons. Love that. We have a lot of things that would be very helpful for you, William. We actually have some interdisciplinary courses, and I think the sandbox would be really helpful as well. Excellent. Lucinda's a CTE teacher. I used to be a CTE teacher as well. Wonderful. New to CS chemistry teacher and just started using Python. We actually have some interdisciplinary courses with science as well. When I left my school district, our science teacher took over many of the computer science classes. So excellent. All right, so you can go ahead and keep tossing your intros into chat if you like. We'll keep an eye on that. And thank you for doing that. Appreciate it. All right. So I'm going to talk just quickly about what you can expect during our workshop today. So we are going through our virtual check-in right now. So we're taking a look at that right now. We will be getting into in a little bit. Well, I'll actually have you enroll in your workshop section in a minute. And then we will be talking just a little bit about the Intro to CS and Python course. We have a lot of Python courses, and I can show you those, point to those quickly in the course catalog. But in this particular workshop, we're going to focus in on Intro to CS and Python. Then Scott's going to take us through a couple of lessons. He's going to show us some lessons from the student perspective and talk about some instructional strategies. And then you'll actually have a chance to explore these lessons as well, because I think that's one of the most helpful things, especially as you're learning a new platform, is to go through it and see how is this lesson structured? What do my students see? And what are some ways that you can approach those lessons? I think what you'll find is the more that you use CodeHS, the more the more easily you'll be able to navigate it. You'll find how easy it is to navigate. Then in the last part of this workshop, we actually want to give you some choices in what you get to experience. So we're going to have some breakout sessions here. You can choose between the Teacher Tools and Resources room. MR is going to do some demos for us on some of the teacher tools and resources. Some of the tools will have pro access, but a lot of them too will also be tools that any free teacher can use. Just as a side note, I was always a free teacher. I was never one of the teachers who had pro tools, and I used CodeHS from 2014 to 2019. So you can absolutely teach full courses, and for me, up to 5 courses a semester, completely on the free plan. So, but we'll talk about many of those other resources as well, so you can see what you can do on that pro plan as well. So that's one of the breakout rooms. Another room will be a curriculum chat where we can come in and Scott will facilitate a discussion about some instructional strategies, some approaches to using the CodeHS course, and also what does it look like to teach and grade on CodeHS or answer any questions you might have. And I'll be in that room as well. And then we also have a room with some individual work time. Maybe you just want some time to explore the site, and that is totally fine as well. So we've set up a session, breakout session for you to do that. And Dave and Linda will be in that room to answer any questions that you might have as you're working individually. And then we'll wrap up our workshop for today. So let's get into this. So first of all, if some of you do not have an educator account yet, a CodeHS teacher account, we'd love for you to sign up for one. It's very fast. Will only take you a couple of minutes. So go ahead and sign up at codehs.com/sign up. Linda just tossed that into chat. If you've already got an account, you don't need to do that. But go ahead and sign up for an account. If you are just signing up today, we might need to verify your account before you get access to things that teachers have access to, like solutions, but this will get you started on that path to having a teacher account. I'll leave it here for just a moment so you can grab that link. And I apologize. I have a few seasonal allergies going on, so I'm a little bit scratchy today. I'm going to mute for just a moment. There we go. Wouldn't be spring if it just wasn't allergy season. I don't even think I'd know what to do. All right, so again, you take a moment to sign up for your account if you need one. If you've already got one, go ahead and sign into your CodeHS educator account, because we will want you to go ahead and enroll in our workshop section. You will definitely want to do this because this will be the way you'll be able to participate in today's workshop activities. And you'll also have access to the resources that we've added into the section. I've added in the slides, so you can access the slides from your section today. Thanks, Eddie. You know, I sound not so good, but I am always over the top excited when I get to talk about CodeHS. So if you could all handle my scratchy throat and my periodic mic mutes to cough, it'll be good. Awesome. I'm so glad you're excited. Truly, one of the things that so many of us have been classroom teachers and we all used CodeHS while we were in the classroom. I would not have done this job if I hadn't been so passionate about CodeHS. So I still get excited talking to teachers about this because I know the life-changing difference this can make for you and for your kids. As we're letting people get enrolled in our workshop section, I'll just mention, I did not start in CS. I have a background as a former English teacher. And I never thought I would go to computer science. And who knew that this was what my ultimate passion would be? And how empowering it is for me, how empowering I found it to be for kids. And it's pretty amazing. I will also mention that if it weren't for CodeHS, I don't think I would know the number of languages that I know at this point. I absolutely know Python because of CodeHS. I know JavaScript because of CodeHS. Java, I have to credit CodeHS for the fact that I know the Java language. HTML, CSS, Bootstrap, SQL. I definitely leveled up my SQL with CodeHS. I'm leaving stuff out, but it's because of CodeHS. And I'll give you a quick hint when we go to the course catalog for how you can enroll in any course to actually level up your own skills. So, all right, how we doing, everybody? We getting in there? I'm gonna just jump over here real quick. You'll see we have lots of teachers on our section. I'll go ahead and refresh. Oh, look at that. We've got 38 of you getting enrolled. Perfect. We've got about half of our workshop participants right now getting enrolled in our workshop section. Again, you will really want to do this. And it's okay if you're in a place where you just can't right now, that's fine. But just know that some of the links that we might send in chat will not open for you during the lessons if you're not in the workshop section. So if you're having trouble with that, go ahead and drop a note into chat or in the question and parking lot. And we will have somebody who is supporting our workshop today help you get into the section. All right, everybody, let's jump in. Oh, one more link. We have so many links. So one more link, and this one's a doozy. I definitely want you to click this. Head out to codehs.com/python-attend. Please click our attendance link. We do not collect any additional information here, but what you will want to know is that when you click this link, I can then send you the workshop certificate of attendance. And you'll receive that certificate for 2 hours. So definitely click this. I will send these out either later this afternoon or tomorrow morning at the latest. And they will come from the hello@codehs.com email address. So watch for that to come. If you don't receive it by, I'd say, end of week, drop me an email, say, hey, Lori, I didn't get that certificate. I'm happy to resend. So again, codehs.com/python-attend. Interesting.
You could probably go on the back end and change that later, right, Lori, if they just use it?
Yeah, that's totally fine.
Okay. So yeah, you'll see that it says Indiana Python Bootcamp. And we'll fix that on our end, but we'll make sure you get your certificate for the appropriate workshop. Sorry about that.
For sure, definitely will. Awesome. I'm super excited about that. I'll make sure to fix that during the session today. You know, what's interesting is if I see Python, I go, oh, that must be right. We'll take care of that. It's all good. It's all good. We're all about growth mindset here. So here we go. Lori will take care of that later. Okay. Perfect. All right. So let's go ahead and jump into our workshop today. We'll make sure you all get your certificates. So no worries about that, everybody. Let's go ahead and jump in. I'm going to take us through a quick overview of our Intro to CS in Python 3 course. So let's take a look here. So again, this is just one of our Python courses. You can actually take a look at the overview for the Python 3 course by browsing out to this link. And I think, yep, Linda just tossed that into chat for us. So if you browse out to codehs.com/course/Python3/overview, it will take you out to a quick look at what is included in this course. This course is an introductory level course. This is something that I've used definitely at the high school level. I've used it actually with any student who's new to programming. This is a great entry level course for them. And most often, I think I use this with ninth grade, but I've also used it with seniors. And as a side note, I've also used this with middle school students too. I did a lot of work with girls who code groups, different technology clubs. Python was one of my favorite languages to use. And this was definitely one that was a huge hit for any of the kids that I used it with. So the course in its entirety is about 175 contact hours geared towards high school, and it is designed to be a year-long course. So these are some of the modules. These are the modules you will see in the course. It starts with this great intro to programming with turtle graphics module. And this is actually where we're going to stay focused in for this lesson or for this workshop today. But once we get through this fabulous introduction to Tracy and turtle graphics, you will start moving into Python and some basic Python, that console interaction. And you'll start going through all of those different programming concepts. So your kids will learn about conditionals, looping, functions, strings, data structures, and you'll ultimately culminate this course with a project for Guess the Word. There are also going to be supplemental modules in addition to all of that main content. And so some of the supplemental modules will include things like Python graphics. We'll take a look at that in a second, and categorizing triangles, some advanced Tracy challenges. Sometimes it's nice to stay in Tracy for a while. I love the Tracy lessons, so adding some challenges in there are great. We've had a lot of people ask about using classes with Python. You can actually take a look at classes and objects here, and some additional topics as well. So before I go into this course overview, I'm actually going to go out to the course catalog. So the course catalog was actually, the link was posted by Linda. Linda, if I could get you to toss that into chat one more time. You can get to the course catalog by going to codehs.com/course/catalog. And you'll see the whole list of courses here. And you have access to any of these, but we're going to focus in on just Python for this particular workshop. If you actually want to filter for just the Python courses, you can click on the Python filter at the top of the page, and then you can see some of the different Python courses that we have available. Notice we do have a data science and an intro to AI course here as well. These are Python-based courses. These are advanced, however, so you will definitely want some Python experience before tackling these courses, because they will be a little bit more advanced than the intro Python course. And if you're an APCSP teacher, we do offer APCSP in Python. We actually have a few options for that course, but we do have it in Python as well. So when we're taking a look at the intro to Python course, let me move all of your faces over here quickly so I can see my whole screen. There we go. You'll see here that we can view the units. So if I take a quick overview of the units, you can see what I just had on that slide. You can take a look at any of the units here. And if I keep scrolling all the way down to the bottom, I can click on supplemental and see the supplemental activities as well. So what will happen with supplemental is these will not be added automatically when you create a course in CodeHS, but these are things that you can add in. Both free and pro teachers, any teacher can have access to any of this content. All teachers have access to any of the course content in our course catalog. So definitely keep that in mind as we go through the workshop. You can also view the syllabus for the course here. Maybe. And if you're not on Zoom, it loads faster. There we go. So you can view that syllabus for the course and see some timing suggestions here for all of the course activities. You can definitely download this as you're planning your course. You can even add this into your course if you like, so your students can see it as well. You can also click on Learn More. Go ahead and open that in a new tab so you can get to that course overview page here as well and see more information about the course here. You can even see on the course overview page some cool demo programs. So if you want to try any of those out, you definitely can. I'm not going to let it sit on that screen for too long since Zoom is making me a little bit laggy on my end, but know that that's in the course overview page. Let me jump back over to the catalog. One other thing I wanted to show you here. You'll notice that I have a button that says View. Well, that's because what you might be seeing there is Enroll, and I already clicked the Enroll button. Now, if you click the Enroll button for any of these courses, including Intro to Computer Science in Python 3, it's actually going to enroll you in the course. So if you wanted to start working through all of that content yourself from the student perspective and start leveling up your own Python skills, you can definitely do that from the course catalog. Again, once you click on Enroll, it will enroll you in the course and it will change that. So you can just view the course from there as well. Any questions about any of this? Team, if there's anything that you're seeing questions on, definitely let me know. Okay. So a couple of little things about how our courses are broken down. And I might just head out to our workshop section to show you these things. First of all, I'll go through the slides quickly. Courses are broken down into modules. Modules are units. You can use those words interchangeably. And every module is broken down into lessons. And inside of the lessons are then broken down into assignments or activities. So let me give you a better idea of what this looks like. So when you are in your section, and you're not going to see this page because this is the teacher view, but let me show you what a student view will look like, at least of your workshop section for now. Whoops. There we go. So this is what you're going to see in your workshop section. This first module or first unit is one that we added in, and you actually all have that same capability to add in your own modules and lessons and activities. But you can see the slides here as well as the end of workshop survey. And then we've given you access to the first, or added into this section at least, the first couple of units in the Intro to CS course in Python. So first of all, you're going to see Intro to Programming with Turtle Graphics. This is the one that Scott will be primarily working through today during our workshop. You will see the Intro to Python with Tracy the Turtle unit. All the units are broken down in this, or all the lessons are broken down in this unit, sorry. Intro to Programming with Turtle Graphics is the module. All of the lessons are then listed in the module. And if we expand the lesson for Intro to Python with Tracy the Turtle, we see all of the activities inside of that lesson. Yours will more than likely be gray if you haven't tried them yet. As you start clicking on those different lessons, you'll see them turn these different colors. Yellow indicates that you have started or you've entered into a lesson. It will turn this teal color when you submit the lesson. And you can click on any of these to enter any of those activities. And we will also help, if you're brand new to CodeHS, we'll be tossing some links into chat that will help get you directly to those activities a little bit more quickly as well. So that's a quick overview of how CodeHS is broken down. Again, everything is organized by modules, lessons, and assignments or activities inside of the lessons. Okay. Oh, and one other thing, because we often get a question about this. If anybody gets into your courses and you just feel like, wow, how do I get back, or how do I navigate? A couple of ways you can do that. To get back completely out of your course, and maybe you want to see your teacher stuff, you can do a couple of things. You can grab this drop down box in the top left corner and toggle between student and teacher. You can also click on the CodeHS little logo up here in the top left corner to get back out of everything, or you can come up to My Sections. And at the top of the My Sections dropdown, you'll see Teacher Page. And at the bottom, you'll see Student Page. And you'll be able to click on one of those to get back out to the correct section that you've enrolled in. Okay. So the first lesson that Scott is going to be taking us into is going to be Intro to Tracy. He's going to get into this a little bit more about what the lessons look like, so I'm not going to steal his thunder. And if we don't have any questions, I think this is where I'm going to be tossing it over to Scott. So Scott, if you're ready, I'll stop sharing.
All right, I'll take over here for a little bit and get everything going. So, all right. Well, welcome everybody to this section. And my name is Scott Headrick, and I have been a computer science teacher for many, many years. And to be quite frank with you, I started off in business education. And my knowledge of computer science was very limited at that point. I can definitely relate to trying to having those struggles of trying to introduce coding into my classroom. When I started doing this about 10 years ago, it was very, very difficult. And it's gotten easier. And one of those platforms that has made it easy for me is CodeHS. And I know many of you are looking at the experiences that you've had. Some of you are, this is going to be the first time you're going to be teaching it and you're nervous. I've been in your shoes. I am not an expert, by any means an expert coder, but one of the things that I've found over the years is that there's just going to be some things that like CodeHS that are going to help you through working with students and trying to introduce things to them the best as possible. So you'll find out as I go through these lessons, there's a lot of supports in here that are going to help you teach your students. So the first lesson that we're going to talk to you about is the Intro to Python with Tracy the Turtle. All right, and the big thing that I'm going to tell you is this. We could go through and diagnose all the code that we want to, and I would confuse myself, and then therefore I would confuse you. So we're not going to do that. All of you on this call know how to teach in some form or fashion, and each one of us are going to be different in how we approach things. So as you go through these activities, you might say, Scott, I'm going to do something different than you did. That's perfectly fine. You know, Scott, I didn't really like how you did this thing, or, you know, approach this. That's fine. I tend to be more of a facilitator in how I approach things. And what I mean by that is you know, we start together, and then I take the risk to let my students go off on their own a little bit. And others of you might disagree with that, and that's fine. That's why we have different teachers that connect differently with different students. So, all right. So what is it like to go through these activities as a student? And then, you know, as your teacher lens is, how do I approach each section of the lesson? Like I said, you will either agree or disagree with how I approach this, and that's definitely fine. How would you do things similarly and differently? So, you know, as we talk about the chat here, one of the basic questions that we ask ourselves in your own words, what is a computer? All right. A dog is a computer. Explain why you chose your answer. You know, so those are some different things. Just kind of some of those, I'll just kind of pop into the chat a little bit with that. But like I said, just kind of thinking about those questions. All right. Not that we're going to go through all of those, but let's talk about those parts of things here. And here's the next part. One of the nice things about CodeHS is they have videos that support the lesson. And just in a moment here, I'm going to go out of the PowerPoint, or excuse me, the Google slide. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about this. But I'm going to tell you one thing I really like. You have two choices of how to watch a video with your students, CodeHS and YouTube. Now, you don't have to necessarily respond in the chat, but I'm sure some of us know someone that cannot access YouTube at their school for different reasons. My school district is one of them, depending on the grade level. So when the kids are like, I can't get into YouTube, I'm like, okay, that's okay. We're good. You're going to have to go into CodeHS and watch the video. All right, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to navigate. I'm going to go into CodeHS. So I moved from the PowerPoint or the Google slide, and now I'm going to come into our platform to look at the lesson. And one of the first things that I want you to do when you get into CodeHS, I'm going to take a look here and get into Intro to Python with Tracy the Turtle. Let me change this here to the student view here real quick so that we're all in the same place. And all I'm doing, folks, is going from our teacher view to the student view. And then I'm going to go into our lesson here. And I'm going to go into Introduction to Programming with Turtle Graphics. Now, the nice thing that you're going to see here is you are going to see that you have all of the different things that have been attempted. Now, if you're like, Scott, what's going on here? Yours has colors to it and mine doesn't. Ooh, okay. It's because that before this workshop, I was working through some of the different things that we need to do for this workshop. All right. So when I click on Intro to Python with Tracy the Turtle, you'll notice that I have 4 different things that I can work through. And I am going to, first thing we're going to do is we're going to go to the Intro to Tracy. Now, one thing you could do with this is you could watch this as a class or you can watch this individually. What I'm going to do for the next few moments here, and I believe this video is about 5 minutes-ish, is I'm going to give you an opportunity to watch the video and to learn about what we are going to do. We aren't going to do it together. We're going to do it individually because sometimes you run into some technical issues when you try to watch it all together. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to stop sharing and I'm going to give you a few moments to watch that video.
Scott, we have some great answers in the chat for you.
Oh, sorry, missed that. Oh. Give you about 1 more minute, and then we will continue on with the lesson. All right, I'm going to bring it back to our webinar, and I'm going to share my screen again with you. Hopefully, this going. All right. So we were able to watch a video, and it was very engaging. Now, I know none of you have any students that would ever skip a video. Okay, maybe you would, maybe you won't. But one of the nice things, first of all, I thought the video was very, very good. Short, to the point, and gives us some information, particularly about forward and circles that we are going to work in programming. Now, the nice thing is the next thing that we're going to do, and I'm going to ask that you follow along with this too from our student view. So we watch the video, and now we're going to go into this button. It says Intro to Tracy, and it's got a check mark with it. So we're going to go ahead and click on that. Ooh, now we have a quiz to check for understanding. All right, so the next thing, what I'm going to ask you to do, and I'm going to do it as well, and hopefully I get all the answers right. Occasionally I get them wrong, so that's kind of embarrassing. But how would I tell Tracy to move forward 100 pixels? I'm going to give you a minute, maybe 2 minutes, just to kind of go through there and kind of see how things work. I won't do it in front of you for at least a minute because I don't want to mess you up and give the wrong answers. Just kidding. All right, so I'm going to go through and start answering questions. All right, well, how would I tell Trace to move forward 100 pixels? And check this one, see if that one works. Yep, I got it correct. A lot of times students, what I find with my students is they will do this one, the first answer, forward 100, they'll forget to put parentheses around that. It's frustrating. Usually what ends up happening is when you get into more advanced topics, I find that I end up messing that one up too. Usually we spending hours trying to figure out what's wrong with the coding. It's just the fact that we forgot to put the parentheses around something. When using the circle, just remember it's I do believe it's the radius. And we'll just see if maybe I'll mess up on one, and no, we're not. Bottom of the circle. And we'll go ahead and click submit. So the next thing that your students are going to have, so they watched a video, okay? They have checked for understanding. And now they are going to, Tracy will draw a slinky with 5 loops. And one of the things we're going to do is we're going to explore this. Your students are going to explore this example. And the first thing that my students will do, they'll raise their Mr. Headrick, Mr. Headrick, Mr. Headrick, there's something there. Yes, there is. All right. This is the toughest part because the code is already there. We know that there's going to be a circle, and that circle is going to have a radius of 35. And it's going to move forward 20. Okay, so we're just going to run it. Okay, and you can kind of see over here in the corner here, you'll see that it actually goes through. And a lot of times the toughest part for maybe the student is like, well, Mr. Headrick, what do I need to do? Then they're kind of all concerned and such. And the basics that you're trying to look for when you're working with your students, when they're asking you questions, this is the description of the code. It's giving you an example. So all they have to do really is just go and say next. And then the question then becomes is we got to show the exercise here. This is very important here. Sometimes if you run into this and your kids will come up and say to you, your students will say, well, what's going on here? What am I supposed to do? Okay, well, let's figure this out. Over here in the left-hand corner, there's a show exercise button, and it'll say, you may or may not get this initially, but Variety program, they'll have Tracy draw a stretched out slinky. The slinky should have 5 rings. Each circle should have a radius of 35, and Tracy should move forward 40 pixels after every circle. So let's now, if you're like me and some of our students, you get into this, you're like, what do I do? I can't remember the previous slide. And then panic sets in. That's okay. Now there's a couple ways I can approach a situation where the panic is set in. How I do this is sometimes I have students work together. Not do it for them, but I have them help out. Sometimes I help them out. Or sometimes I point them into different places where I'll say okay, here's the docs up here, the docs tab up here, and I'll just say, okay, here are some of the things that we've worked with. Okay, hey, we've worked with the forward at this point so that Tracy will move in a given direction. And then we talk also about the circles too that they need to have. All right, so the big thing is like when I come back, like, okay, show exercise. So each circle should have a radius of 35 and then should move forward. So here's what I'm going to ask you to do. Some of you may already have started that. What I want you to do is I want you to go through this exercise and complete it. All right. And I'll even get you started a little bit here. So we have a circle, 35. All right. And I always come back, keep coming back here. So we have a radius, 35. And then we're going to move forward 40. Let's see here. And I'm going to run it. Uh-oh. What did I do wrong here? Something happened. I did something wrong. What's going on?
You have double quotes, double brackets.
Yep. We got to do that. Okay, so we got to do this. I misspelled forward. So I'm going to run through that. All right, just keep working through that. So, yep, sometimes you run into the point where you're going to actually get into those issues. So keep working through that. Now, the easiest way is I could keep on typing, which I'm going to do. And I'm going to keep on typing with this and go 35 and whatever else and that. And the thing I like about this is I just keep running it just to see how it'll be for us. Keep working. All right. Now, for those of you that like to copy and paste, you can do that too. When I was doing this the other night, guess what? I misspelled forward. So every time I reconnected this, it would go wrong. So go ahead and run it. All right. Now, one of the things, again, I forgot to show you is I checked the code. And one of the things that's nice about when you check the code, it just tells you, okay, it was a success. So go to the next part here. And also I'm going to do is I'm going to hit submit and continue. All right. Tells me I did a good job of writing the program. All right. And if I come back here, I'm just going to go back here just to make sure that I'm right where I need to be. And go to my student view here. Come back here. All right, let's come back into the lessons here. And it tells me that I have completed my intro to Python with Tracy the turtle. All right, so the big thing I would say is as you go through this, you know, as I mentioned earlier, a lot of you, some of you will want to go through this, you know, individually with your, excuse me, as a class, which isn't a bad thing, just kind of get people started. You might want to, if you're like me, sometimes I just turn them loose, my students loose, and then I get back into, you know, and then we kind of bring it back into the middle. But overly not necessarily the hardest thing that we could come across. So, but yeah. So I'm just trying to think, I'm just going to talk with Lori a little bit here. I don't know, is there anything else, Lori, that I missed that I might want to highlight from that first lesson?
Oh, I think you're doing pretty well, Scott. Let me just see if we had any quick questions. Oh, with that error message,
Yes.
anytime that an error is made, you should see that message appear or a message appear on the screen. And it takes a little bit of practice to get used to those messages, but definitely encourage your kids to read them and they will start to get more and more used to using those to debug their code and understanding what they mean. So, and Scott also mentioned that docs tab. Point out the docs tab to your kids. Definitely send them out to that. It's great that they come to you for help, but this will definitely help them build resilience and help them try to help themselves more. So, the message, I think Scott's at school. And so Scott, you might have been having, I think you had something on the intercom. I think that's what people were hearing was all. So,
Okay.
yeah. There's no voice message, just Scott's intercom. So
Yeah, sometimes weird things happen.
and remember the questions, go ahead and drop those in the question parking lot too. Oh, go ahead, Scott.
Yeah. So yeah, sometimes if you're at school, it doesn't matter if you're on duty or not, they'll find you to ask for help. So sometimes that does happen. Another thing that is, you know, and you'll hear me mention this in a couple points, is it's never, and you know, an embarrassment. You know, when you have, sometimes when you're going through things and things are really tough, and then really in this lesson, it isn't overly tough. And when you get down into the different parts of the lesson, there'd be times where I would get out the answer key and we'd try to go through and try to figure out what was wrong. Don't ever be embarrassed. Don't be embarrassed for your students. It's just because sometimes that's a problem solving in itself. So
Scott, I'll totally agree with you on that, Scott. I know for myself too, coming from a non-CS background, there were times when I didn't get it. I knew what the answer was supposed to be and I didn't understand. So I worked backwards from the answer. And there's no harm in taking those answers and show the kids. Don't give them the answer to take with them by any means. Make sure you hang on to that. But go ahead and work backwards from it. That is also a great way to learn. And we all have different learning styles. And I still learn like that. So I really like that approach, Scott. Totally agree with you on it.
I'm just going to stop sharing my screen for just a moment here and kind of going through here. And then the next thing that's on our list here, just making sure I'm going through the way we're supposed to be going through, is we're going to actually go into the next part of our lesson here just in a moment. So you aren't really going to have to switch gears at any point. Let me take a look here and turn off my mic here for just a moment.
And while Scott's doing that, Scott, just interrupt me when you're ready. Yeah, I think one of the most important things to remember, especially because we have a group that has so many new to CS teachers, new to Python teachers, it's totally okay if you don't have all the answers. You have the solution. Whether you are a free or a pro teacher, all teachers have access to the solution references. So you have those answers ultimately. But it's okay to not have the answers. And sometimes it can be even that much more empowering for your kids when they can come to you and say, hey, look what I figured out. And you can look at them and say, teach me how to do that. Your kids are going to love you for that, and they are going to feel so excited for that. So might be hard to get to that point. I know it wasn't easy for me at first too, but I'm the first one to say I don't have the answer, and I'll hit up my team members and students when I get to go back and see kids in the classroom. So super important to remember that.
Yeah. And piggyback off of Lori with some of these things, and I understand too, it takes a lot of courage sometimes, especially if this is the first time you're doing things. And I'm just going to share a very short story. Hopefully it takes 2 or 3 hours. I'm just teasing. But we had a makerspace class that we had last year, and we had a gentleman who's a fantastic PE and health teacher, had good rapport with the kids, had the respect of the kids. And we had him in this makerspace class where he was doing a lot of different things that were, we'll just say, computer science related. Now, he would say that I am not a tech person, but I'm going to also tell you this, because of the way he managed his classroom, he did a fantastic job. And he did I don't think anyone else in our district, those with computer science experience or those could have done any better than he did. So I just, want to be clear that as we go through this, don't feel like, oh man, I'm out of my league. You're going to be fine. It just takes a little time, and the supports in here are great. So let's go ahead and come back, and I'm going to share my screen. Hopefully I get it taken care of well. So what we're going to do is we're going to take you into another sample lesson. And as mentioned before, I'm getting to my things are kind of getting crazy here. I can't remember if I went the wrong way or there we go. My computer's a little possessed there for a moment, but we're going to go through another part of the sample lessons. And once again, the biggest part is that I want you to have the opportunity to go through this, be able to ask questions of us, and hopefully there aren't any points where you're stuck. But the big thing is you're putting yourself in your students' shoes to see how you would interact with the things that we are going to prepare you for. So what I'm going to do is, rather than being in the Google slide, I'm going to go back in, and as before, we have another video. And as I looked just a few moments ago, this video takes about 4 minutes. We're going to allow it. I'm going to give you about 5 minutes to go through, learn about what Tracy's grid world is going to mean to you and to your students. So I'm going to stop sharing, and I am going to and then sorry, I'm going to mute after, but make sure you watch the video. There we go.
Hi. Hi, Scott. May I ask you a question regarding using CodeHS?
What's your question?
Yeah, since last semester I used a little bit using CodeHS for the HTML. But I'm wondering, in order to use the grade book, does the school need to purchase the plain format?
So I think the breakout session you'll want to attend is the teacher tools and resources, and we can give you more information about which tools are pro and which tools are free. Just as a little precursor to that, you're able to definitely grade on both free and pro, but there will be some additional tools that will require a pro plan. But we can definitely speak to that in the breakout sessions a little bit more if that's helpful. So thank you for your question. We definitely want to get those answered for you. I'm just going to mention quickly, Nancy just mentioned in chat about using Post-it notes in grids, giving your students a pad at the start of the semester so they can get familiar with the concept of XY and that whole grid idea. I like that idea a lot. I think that sometimes that can be a little bit, when students are thinking about programming and applying programming or writing code and applying that to something that's happening on the screen, it can be a little bit tough. I know for me, as a student, it was something that I like to be up and moving and try to visualize something a little bit better. So I think that definitely helps as well. So I love that idea. I often think that computer science and programming doesn't necessarily always mean constant screen time. Getting students up and moving is always a good thing too. So.
All right, well, we are going to wrap up the video part of things. The reason is that, as I look at the videos, I always feel that they are extremely helpful, better than I could explain it to you. So that's why we have to watch the videos. The next thing that I'm going to do as we come back to this point of is checking for understanding, which is at this point here. So we watched our video. All right, and then I'm going to just go into Tracy's world, and this is once again just an opportunity where you can go through and start seeing how well your kids do go on these questions. You can certainly go through them just to kind of see if you can answer them as best as you can. Like I said, I'll go through there just in a few moments here, but go ahead and answer those questions that your students will be expected to answer. All right, so I'm just going to go start through, and like I said, I'll probably get a couple answers wrong. That's all right. And then this one's probably one thing that maybe you noted in the video, maybe you didn't, but you can also, not only can you, if you want to move your turtle forward, you can also go with a forward or a backward command. All right. And then, like I said, just going to randomly throw out answers here. And if you get one wrong, your students get one wrong, it'll tell them what the correct answer is. That's going to be 200 pixels from the canvas. And if you want to move forward, Without making a line, what would you need to do? So it asks you a little bit of a coding question. The one thing that you're introduced to in the video is the pen up and the pen down, and that's frustrating for students, especially when they're trying to get things figured out. And especially like, Mr. Headrick, I can't get the line drawn. What's going on? This is terrible, you know? And, you know, without making a line, if you don't want to make a line, you got to have the pen up command. All right. You want to move them forward, let's keep pen up and go this one. And that works. Big thing is before you move, you want to make sure that the pen is up. So we get through that, we get our questions in there. And this is an opportunity to, as you go through as a teacher, like, okay, you know, do kids really watch the video? Do they have an understanding? Sometimes kids really know what's going on so that they don't need to watch the video. That there is times when you have some kids that are already expert programmers, but at least then they can work through the questions so you understand where they're going to go. This part, the next part is this other part where the kids will say, well, Mr. Headrick, there's already code here. What's going on? Yeah, that is true. There is code there. So basically this is giving your students an idea, and you as a teacher an idea of how, if you look over here, how this would be coded. So if I go in here and we just go into the run, all right, kind of got there, and everything works the way it should be, you know, and you know, if you need to run it again, you can certainly do that. Watch it go through, all right, and just kind of work through that part. So it's nice because you have those example programs if you need them. Now I'm just also going to give you a little bit of permission here too, and I'm going to get, let's see here, I think this is, yep. I'm going to get rid of this real quick because I was working on this the other night. If I can, if it'll let me get rid of it. There we go. But I'm going to give you permission. You know, some of you might be like, you know, Scott, I want to see how you're doing this and listen to you verbatim. And some of you are like, you know, Scott, I would like to kind of try to get ahead. Well, there's the danger of going ahead is great. If you want to try to do that, that's fine. Just remember that if you get lost, you're going to have to wait for us to catch up to you. If you want to stay with me, that's fine. You just might have to worry about me messing up a time or two. So that happens as well. But let's just see. So as we go through this, we are being asked. Now you see where it says finalize. I meant the other night I got it finished. I'm just going to go to show exercise. And it's going to tell me what's going to go on. It says, write a program that will have Tracy draw a dashed line across the x-axis. Tracy starts at the left side of the canvas. Lines are 50 pixels long. Space between lines is 50 pixels. Okay, so you kind of go through this. So you can go through here, and I'll struggle through it because, like I said, that's sometimes the way it works. The entire canvas width, just remember, is 400 pixels. Try to figure out how many times Tracy will need to repeat these commands by the width by how far Tracy is on the first dash space. All right. All right, so here we go. And we move, and sometimes I always go to the docs and everything else, or sometimes I even go right away to the assignments, different things. But I'm going to let you get started with this, okay, as I work through it. So, 2. All right, 50. All right. So the first thing is I'm just going to start, get this to work, and do that correctly. And sometimes I intentionally make mistakes so that, you know, let's see, forward. I'll go through here. You're going to notice, guys, I always forgetful Jones here a little bit. Keep moving. All right. Now, as you go through this and you're like, okay, well, we got that one worked. All right, we'll go pen up and get that part of it done because we want to make sure that get that part going. Run that. And, let's see here. Now, you notice I made a mistake. Part of it's because I'm nervous, and part of it's because I'm in front of a big group of people, but those things happen. You're gonna see me run the code a lot, and the reason I run the code a lot is frankly because I make mistakes, and I wanna catch them before everything happens. Oh. What did I do? I misspelled forward. How happens? And your kids are going to go through the same things. All right, so we just keep going through here. All right, well, I got to draw a different line, so I got to have pen down. And then I go forward. All right, I can spell forward correctly. All right. Now you're going to notice a couple things. The first thing is that I'm out of room. All right. So one of the things that I messed up on here is I need to do this. Is I'm going to use my backward command to start with. All right. Get through this. And I'm just going to try. Sometimes I just troubleshoot, guys, and just go through and okay, run. Oh. Now, problem is that I gotta come back up here and make sure I'm not drawing any lines. Pen up. And we'll see how it goes. All right, looks good so far, hopefully. All right, and it's good to note that the default is the pen down, at least to start this. But I'm just gonna keep taking this, and we're just gonna see, I'm gonna grab a couple more of these parts. And like I said, I'm okay, and I can mess up, so it looks like I need another one of this. For those of you that are like, well, isn't there like a repeat or a loop? Yep, your students are going to get to that. It's just going to happen a little bit later. All right, we're going to check the code now. Oh, let's see here. We need another one here. Try this, and we'll see if this. Eight times. Well, let's see here. All right. Let's see if we can. There we go. Sometimes it just comes down to the basics of troubleshooting. There's never, and for those of you that have coded before, you never know, you always know that the hardest thing to do is to code in front of peers. So, but you go through this and you just kind of work through it and troubleshoot, you know, going through and just kind of taking some different things but the big thing is that you check the code and make sure it's good. So I'm going to submit and continue. All right. Use the commands that you've learned so far to draw a caterpillar on your canvas. Make sure your caterpillar has a body that consists of 5 circles. Each circle has a radius of 20. It gives me a little bit of a hint there. In order to line the circles up to each other between, let's see, in order to line circles up next to each other between circles, think about how far trace is going to need to move forward. You may want to sketch this program out before writing the code. So we do that. And you're going to see me have this information here. I'm like, oh gosh, I got it down. All right. All right, so we have that part of things. And the biggest thing, that the way I just start with a lot of things is I'm just going to go to, I just go to my exercise, and so we have a radius of 20. So circle command. If you're like, you know, if you're like, Scott, I can't remember where that was. What's going on? I go to docs and I'm like, okay, oh, circles, there it is, right there. I've got it. Come back to the output. Go to the circle. And then, you know how my brain works. I forget what the radius is. Come back to, let's go to 20. And I'm going to run it. All right, so we got that part done. All right. And then they say, well, how far? Okay. 5 circles. All right, so come back here and this is going to go, we'll just say I'm going to go forward 5. We're going to do a circle here. We'll see how things work. Let's see. And if you're looking at my code, you know, like I said, follow along. You're like, uh-oh, Scott misspelled forward again. All right. Now, I think part of the thing that you have to realize with this is now we got to move this forward a little bit more. We'll try 10, and I'm just going to kind of, I troubleshoot a little bit. All right, maybe we'll even go 20. Just moving through here, just looking through things. All right, or maybe we would go to 40 here to see if we can double that. Now, the other thing that you're going to notice is if I'm in comparing. So I have a circle of 20, like everything's going well, but here's the problem. I have this little thing here. Okay, I'm like, oh, that line there. Well, I'm just going to go ahead and go with it. You know what? I'm a student in your school, and I'm just going to try everything just to see how it works. And so we got our circle, and oh, I got to go forwards. All right, get through these things here. Forwards. And I do the circle. And I'm going to do 20. Guys, all right, I'm going to run it. Uh-oh, what do we got going on here on 5? Oh, I kind of forgot my parentheses there, so I'm going to run that. Oh, and I forgot my other parenthesis up here, so let's go ahead and take a look. Let's go ahead and run through that. So right now I have, let's see here. I forgot my forward thing here. Keep forgetting that R in there. All right, so I got 3 of these, so I'm going to need another 2. So I'm going to grab, I'm just going to copy and paste, make sure that I can do things the way I'm supposed to do this. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, I got 5 circles. Check the code. Ooh. Okay, everything's green, but you should lift the pen up between circles. Okay. Well, CodeHS and my teacher aren't going to let me do that, so what I'm going to do is we draw a circle. Let's try this. Pen. All right, pen up. See if this works for me. So basically, I had that my pen, so we're going to let it draw the circle, and we're going to go pen up, and then we're going to have it go forward, and then we're going to try pen down. And then draw a circle. Now I'm going to cut these. I'm just going to get rid of these for the time being, just to run them, just to see how it works. All right. So at this point, we need to draw a circle. And sometimes it's just as easier to just kind of work through the code as it goes. We're going to do this. All right, let's see. All right, I didn't enclose my circle. I got to do that. No. What did I miss? Oh. You'll notice, and as I go through this, and I've made 100 mistakes in this program. And the big thing I'm trying to make the point of it is, yeah, it's kind of tough doing it in a webinar, but the other part of it is these are the things that your students are going to face. It isn't so much that they don't know what they're doing, and sometimes they just make a very minor clerical error, and it ends up causing problems. So it's not like they're crazy or whatever else. Just let them work through things. So I'm just going to copy these, run it. All right, I'm going to grab this again. Oh, did we mess up one here? I got that. And let me do this here. Circle, pen up, forward, pen down. Grab that. And I'll need to do one more. I'm going to check my code and we're good. Now you might notice like, Scott, that took for you forever. Okay. Sometimes it takes people different, some of you might already be done with it. That's awesome. So it's going to submit and continue, do that part of things. And I get a badge. And maybe Lori, I don't know, Lori's like, do we have a lot of people that share their badges with different things? Do that. I don't know.
We do, actually. You can absolutely, we will often see kids or teachers sharing their badge on Twitter or Facebook. So I would definitely encourage that. We actually just had a session yesterday. If you missed out on it, Joe Thompson did an awesome session for us about student certifications and teacher micro credentials, but he talked about how he uses badges. I think it's often an overlooked part of our courses, but I would definitely take a look at those. And if you want more info about where to get or where to watch Joe's workshop, I can definitely send that out to you. So.
Okay. Yeah. So as you go through this, the one thing is I go through my courses and you might say, well, Scott, how do I hold my kids accountable? They're doing all sorts of things here. And keep in mind, I'm on the teacher section, and I'm just going to bump back into the student section here for just a little bit. The one thing that's important too in working with middle and high school students is a lot of times kids will say, "Oh, Mr. Headrick, I got 100% over here. I'm done. I'm good." A lot of times, what I ask them to do is to make sure to look to the very bottom here. 5% course progress is completed. That includes everything that I ask them to do, not just the introduction to program with turtle graphics, but also this lesson, which we aren't going to discuss in much depth today. But if I look here, you're going to notice that as I go through what I did personally as a student, you'll notice that everything is green except for the video. I didn't quite get it all finished. And you'll notice that your students, they'll hopefully have some greens, which are things that they're ready for you to look at. The yellow means obviously they didn't go through that. But if I'm going back to the teacher view and I go to my sections, you're going to notice that I have the teaching intro to Python section I can go through, and I can get a summary just of what people have done over the time. Some people have done more. Some people weren't quite able to get into it. Some people worked through it or watched me go through it, which is fine. But that kind of gives you a little bit of a summation of what people or what our students work on, and just kind of see what they do as well. So, like from my perspective is, you go through it, you look through each individual and kind of making sure that they're doing things the way that they're supposed to be doing. So, or is there anything you wanted to add as far as, we finished that second one? Is there anything that you wanted to add as far as like the tracking part of things, or is that something we'll talk about in the breakout room?
I think we can talk about that more in breakout room. And we can certainly make that be, and we'll talk about the breakout rooms in just a moment, but I think that'll be a good chat for there. So
yeah. I think we're at the point in the in our workshop where we're done. We went through 2 different lessons with you, just to kind of give you the sense of what your students will be seeing and what you will be helping them through. I'm going to stop sharing at this moment.
Scott, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen real quick too, but go ahead and keep talking.
Yeah, and we're at that point too. So some of the things that we're going to talk about are going to go into the breakout rooms. Which kind of gets into more some of the depth of the questions.
And I'm going to toss this up here one more time. I did go back and fix this. So you can go ahead and click this, and I will cross-reference and make sure everybody gets their certificate. So no worries if you're watching the video after the fact and you think, oh no, Lori needed me to click this. It's okay, I'll cross-reference, but this should now take you out to the correct the correct name for the event. But again, I'll cross-reference and make sure everybody gets their certificate. If it doesn't take you to the correct name for the event, it might be it might have to do with cookies and some other settings on your computer. So no worries. I will make sure you get your cert. So I wanted to toss that up there one more time. So we are going to take just a short break. This has been awesome. I've really been enjoying this and having some great conversations with all of you. And Scott, this has been so informative. So really enjoyed our time so far. Let's take just a super short break. We are winding down to our last 30 minutes together, and we want to spend some time in breakout rooms with you. So as you're on break, I want you to be thinking of these 3 options. Do you want to see some demos of teacher tools and resources? Do you want to chat with other teachers and Scott and myself about how you can use this content in your classroom, maybe answer some other questions there as well? Or do you want time to explore the course, explore some of those lessons that are in that workshop section? You can definitely do that in breakout room 3. So let's come back at 35 after the hour, and we will have some breakout rooms ready for you to join. See you in a bit. All right, everybody, as you're coming back in, I have went ahead and I opened up the breakout rooms. You don't have to join them just yet, but you will be able to see those available, and you can choose which room you would like to join. I'll just start talking slowly since technically I'm starting a minute early. Just notice that. It's like we have a few people joining, so that is just fine. Again, as we're coming back into the last 25-ish minutes of our workshop, you can go ahead and choose which breakout room you would like to join. If you would like to learn more about CodeHS teacher tools and resources, go ahead and join breakout room number 1, and you'll see that it's named number 1, teacher tools and resources. And MR is going to take you through some demos of those teacher tools. If you would like to chat with Scott about some ways to use the content in your classroom, maybe some other things as well, you can join us in breakout room number 2 for curriculum course chat. And if you want to explore the platform on your own and explore those activities that are in that workshop section, go ahead and join breakout room number 3. Linda and Dave will be with you in that room to answer any questions that you might have as you are learning to navigate CodeHS. So you can go ahead and choose your breakout room. I believe what you will see is breakout rooms in progress, or you might need to click the icon on the, I think it's toward the bottom of your Zoom screen that says breakout room, and it will allow you to choose one of those. And you can click join. You can join your rooms now. I'll keep an eye on this. And our team, if you want to head out to your rooms, that is just fine. Scott, I will join you in course chat in a little bit. I'm going to keep an eye on this for just a moment. And for the team, we should be able to navigate around.
Lori, I can't see the breakout room button.
Oh, sure. I wonder if, let me see if I can move you, Scott. Hang on. There you are. I'm going to move you. Whoop. Oh, I'm not. There we go. Somebody else moved, so hopefully I didn't move them. It gets tricky when everybody's moving, so bear with me for one moment. Scott, do you see it at the bottom of your screen? Okay. There you go. I think you should see it now.
Yeah, it allows me to join a breakout room, so I'm good.
Okay, good deal. Perfect. I'll be there shortly. I'm going to hang out for a bit and make sure we can get people into breakout rooms. Let me open up chat in case anybody's having an issue. Oh, no worries. That is absolutely fine. If you cannot join a breakout room, not a problem. So if you are trying to figure out how do I join a breakout room, you should be seeing on your Zoom screen an icon for breakout rooms. You might have to click on more and then select breakout rooms. I think that's toward the bottom of your screen. And then you're going to have an option to join one of 3 rooms. And it will be the independent work time room, the curriculum course chat room, or the teacher tools room, teacher tools and resources room. Robin, did that help? And if you want, you can absolutely let me know which room you're trying to join, and I can jump out to that room. Or I can move you out to that room. Not quite sure what I just said there. Sorry. I'll hang out here for just a moment. those of you who are still hearing that, I'm going to go ahead and just mute myself for just a moment. If you're still trying to join a room, you can go ahead and click on breakout rooms. You might have to click on more in the Zoom controls, then choose breakout rooms, and you should be able to join the room you'd like to join there. If you'd like some help, I can definitely assign you to a room, so you can drop that in a chat. Oh, okay. Vanessa just mentioned you need to update before you can join a breakout room. And no worries, if you want to do some independent work time here, that's fine. Also, if you're signed up for additional workshops, know that we will be doing the teacher tools session again. So if you need to update and come back in another workshop, that's totally fine as well. Karen, I'll go ahead and assign you. You bet. Find you real quick. Karen, you are on your way. I'm going to pop out of this main session real quick, and I'll be back in a moment to see if anybody needs help. I'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. We're waiting for a few more people to join us again. Breakout rooms will be officially closed in about 10 seconds. All right. Everybody is flooding back into the main room. Hope that was helpful and productive for everybody. Okay. Sound like we had some really good discussions happening in the rooms that I just popped into. So that was excellent. So we are down to our last couple of minutes of our teaching Intro to Python workshop. So I just want to again say thank you to all of you for joining. We've got a few more resources before we wrap up our workshop today. And we'll make sure to send these links out to all of you in the follow-up email. If you are excited about CodeHS, as excited as we all are, definitely take a look at our CodeHS Certified Educator program. I was a certified educator, and there's some cool things that can happen to certified educators, some little perks you can get. You can also attend other free CodeHS or teacher-led workshops this whole summer. We have a massive list out there of all of the workshops that are available. And just going to double check real quick. Are you all seeing my other resources slide right now? Hopefully being shared. Okay, cool. So if you head out to codehs.com/freepd, you can register for any and all of those summer workshops. We're certainly not going to restrict any of those. So you can register for more. And there is that second Python workshop that's going to be coming up. And definitely feel free to register for that as well as all the other ones. Let me keep on going. One more time, I'm going to flash this out there. So if you could just take a moment, go ahead and click this. Again, if it's not showing up right, it might just be a caching issue, but I'll make sure to cross-reference and make sure you all get your certificates of attendance. But go ahead and click on codehs.com/python-attend for me. That would be great. Linda just tossed that into chat as well. Next workshops that are coming up are actually this week. We have 2 more this week. We have several all summer long, but 2 more this week. Tomorrow, we will be doing Teaching Intro to JavaScript for New CS Teachers. One of our teacher trainers, Carmen Bryson, will be leading that. You still have plenty of time to register. You can register right up to workshop start time or even halfway through it, and that's just fine. That starts tomorrow at 11 a.m. Central, noon Eastern. And then on Thursday, Chip Kramlich will be doing our workshop, another teacher trainer, leading the workshop, Teaching Intro to Physical Computing with Microbit. And that is this Thursday at 11 a.m. Central. So definitely register if you want to check those out. And finally, we've got the workshop survey. We are always trying to figure out what else can we bring you. And the best way to understand how we can help you is by you telling us. So if you could take a moment, fill out our workshop survey, let us know how we did today. What did you like? Are there things we could do a little differently? And what else would you like to see? So browse out to codehs.com/workshop survey and provide us with a little feedback. We definitely appreciate hearing your thoughts on what we bring you. And as we wrap up today, I'm going to give one more thank you, one more shout out to Scott Headrick. Scott, you are awesome. I've worked with Scott on so many occasions. I actually met Scott when he was a presenter for one of my workshops when I was in the still in K-12. And he is an amazing presenter. And Scott he's at the beach now, so he's done. But Scott, thank you so much for doing this. This was so valuable, and I thoroughly enjoyed this, and I hope you all did too. And big thank you to the CodeHS team who joined today. So thanks to Dave, Linda, Gary, MR. Could not do it with you all too. So thank you. And most of all, thank you to all of you. Thank you for everything you do for your students. Thank you for being a teacher. Thank you for being a teacher during some of the worst years, I think, to probably be a teacher, but at the same time, one of the most important years to be a teacher. So thank you for continuing to do that work. Know that we appreciate you. We appreciate all you do for your kids. Keep doing it. We are here to help. We're here to support you. So only thing left to say is, again, thank you, and looking forward to seeing you at the next CodeHS workshop.